Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
And I'm Pauline Verzosa.
The big stories tonight, despite years of schooling, close to 19 million senior high school graduates do not understand what they read, even if it's just a simple story. We have the Department of Education addressing this shocking finding in a little while.
And Vice President Sara Duterte says she is attending the Justice Department's preliminary probe into her kill remark against President Bongbong Marcos. But she maintains her statements were taken out of context.
And later, we show you a hole in the wall right here in the metro where sustenance and sustainability meet.
There were 15-year-olds who graduate, but they cannot read a simple story. That should not happen.
The Department of Education is moving to address alarming data presented on the state of Philippine education. In a Senate hearing, it was revealed that nearly 30 million Filipinos suffer from illiteracy. But what is
more alarming is that millions of senior and junior high school students who graduated between 2019 and 2024 lack proper reading comprehension. Marian Enriquez has tonight's big story.
Paano sila nag-graduate nang hindi sila functional literate?
A shocking revelation in Wednesday's hearing of the Senate Committee on Basic Education. There are close to 19 million junior and senior high school graduates who are considered functional illiterate between 2019 and 2024. This means they do not comprehend or understand what they are reading. This data was revealed through the Functional Literacy Education and Mass Media Survey of the Philippine Statistics Authority. The figure is alarming. 1 in every 5 high school graduates cannot understand when reading even a simple story.
No one should graduate in our basic education system that will not be functional literate. That should not happen. This is where DepEd should already be proactive in making sure that no one will graduate not being functional literate. That's quite concerning.
The PSA survey also revealed that 24.8 million Filipinos aged 10 to 64 are functionally illiterate, while 5.8 million cannot read, write, or count. In terms of areas, provinces in Mindanao and parts of the Visayas recorded the highest number of functional illiterates. A teachers group corroborates the PSA's findings. Aside from problems with budget and the number of teachers, they also blame the matatag curriculum for the current learning crisis.
Pinopromote po nila yung mass promotion na kahit hindi ganun na kahusay ang bata, kailangan po naming ipasa. Kahit kami mismo teacher, nahihirapan talagang.
Alfonso says they intend to bring this up with Education Secretary Sonny Angara in a meeting on May 6. They would suggest to bring back the old curriculum and the no-read, no-pass policy. Angara, for his part, reaffirmed the DepEd's commitment that every student in the country is functionally literate. Among the agency's interventions are intensifying remedial and literacy programs and the use of data in schools. Teaching and assessment methods have also been improved, and the students are being honed to be critical thinkers instead of merely memorizing lessons. For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
So how long has DepEd known about this problem? Are there other factors that may have contributed to this alarming data? And joining us tonight is DepEd Assistant Secretary for Curriculum and Teaching, Jerome Buenviaje. Good evening to you, ASEC, and welcome to the big story.
ASEC, there's just a bit of a problem with your audio, so hopefully we can fix that. Let's try it again. ASEC, can you hear us okay?
Hindi sa akin yun.
Or on, it might be on mute, your microphone. There is a
We're going to try to resolve the audio problems with Assistant Secretary Jerome, but yeah, it's good that we have him on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Because we really want to flesh
There's
out
ASEC.
this issue.
ASEC, can you hear us?
You don't have audio, I can.
There
Perfect,
you go. Sorry.
perfect. Okay, because this is quite an alarming figure that we just got from the Senate. How long has the DepEd been aware of this problem?
Says I cannot hear anything right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
You are speaking there, but I don't hear anything.
But we can hear you though clearly. All right, we'll get back to you, sir, while we figure out
Some
the
technical
literacy
problems.
of our system. Yes.
Yeah, but going back to our top story, says this has been quite alarming because you have 19 million not young students, but rather senior and junior high graduates who are what we call functionally illiterate, meaning they only have a very basic reading and writing skills. They cannot understand complex instructions. I read somewhere that they can't even fill up a job application form. They can only write their full names, but they can't understand fully,
You know, we've known about the sad state of education in our country, and this is just another confirmation of the poor state of the education system. All right, Asik, buen viaje. Magandang gabi po sa inyo. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Perfect. Okay, so this problem of functional illiteracy, has the DepEd been aware of this for some time?
This is actually a confirmation, no? Says doon sa bagong result ngayon ng FLEMS, it just gives confirmation on what we are actually testing from the ground. No? So this is a very welcoming result for us to validate what data we also have at para may align din natin yung mga targeted interventions na ginagawa natin.
Ironically, the Matatag curriculum was supposed to address this, but it seems that the reverse po ang nangyari.
Oo. Says, ang curriculum, ang isang curriculum ay isang cycle, no? So, we just started the Matatag curriculum, the new curriculum where the curriculum was decongested. So, mahirap na
Sisihin ng Matatag.
Mahirap na makita ang epekto nito sa 2024 na FLEMS. Pero sinasabi din natin na maganda ito sapagkat kino-confirm nito yung mga pag-aaral na ginawa natin na in the past, when we revised our curriculum, we found out that our curriculum is too congested. No? At kailangan natin siyang i-decongest. At nasa ikalawang taon tayo ng rollout natin ngayon.
Nung Matatag. So when will we know the results? In 2 more years? Tama ba? Kung yung Matatag ay naging effective.
Usually sa isang curriculum development cycle, makikita mo siya.
Which is how long? How long is a Sorry, we're not
Usually,
educators, so
5 to 10 years natin siya nakikita yung immediate result niya.
5 to 10 years.
So Asik, what would you say is the root cause nitong functional illiteracy if we're not yet feeling the effects or the effectivity of the Matatag curriculum?
We have to understand sorry, Shawn, right?
No, that's Pawi.
Pauline po.
Yeah, sorry, Pauline. So we have to understand, Pauline, na ang ating problema sa literacy or illiteracy in this case ay hindi lamang nakatuon sa curriculum at sa pagtuturo, no? Actually, yung hit na nangyari yesterday, no? Parang ang dami na kasi nangyari. Yesterday sa
Senado, opo.
Kinonfirm lang nito yung ating mga correlations na nakukuha nating datos. At maliwanag ang sinasabi doon that there is a clear link between nutrition and literacy, no? Sa mga datos na pinakita sa mga probinsya. Kasi ngayon, ang kagandahan nitong 2024 FLEMS, hindi na siya region-wide lang ang data. Bumaba na siya sa probinsya at sa mga munisipalidad at ang mga syudad. So, makikita natin in provinces where stunting, yung chronic malnutrition and wasting, yung mga acute malnutrition, yung mga high illiteracy, makikita natin na mataas din ang malnutrition, no, doon sa mga probinsya at mga lugar na ito.
Pero Asik, nutrition is one thing, but it's another when you have students passing their respective levels, kahit clearly hindi naman sila kapasa-pasa. I mean, why is there a problem like that of teachers letting students pass, move on to the next grade kahit na they're clearly behind?
Oo. Sa edukasyon, Pauline, ano siya, no? Dalawang perspektibo ito ng yung kasing yung tinatawag na no child left behind na sinasabi kanina doon sa interview, misinterpreted siya. Kasi ang dapat niyan, when you promote the student, kahit nakita natin na hindi pa niya na-master ang competencies, tinusundan siya ng intervention sa level niya. No? So importante yung mga interventions sa loob ng within the grade level pagka pinopromote yung estudyante. Kailangan din ng isang authentic assessment o yung mga assessment na mga tama para masasabi natin na talagang grade level appropriate sila.
Could this ASEC be also a result of the pandemic? Parang we're just seeing na talagang nag-suffer ang education during those 3 years ng
Actually,
pandemic.
sinasabi natin, di ba, even before the pandemic, meron na tayong learning crisis. No? At ito ay talagang pinaigting pa ng pandemic. So we have to remember na yung grade 5 students ngayon, sila ito yung mga pumasok ng grade 1. No?
At saka yung senior high, yung mga parang, di ba nagkaroon rin ng mass promotion because, well, the circumstances, I suppose, called for it. So now we are seeing the result.
Yeah, at during the pandemic, di ba, meron tayong tinatawag na compassionate principle. Kasi syempre, nasa special circumstance tayo that time, no? Kaya mas naging lenient at mas naging magaan yung mga assessment na ginagawa. Kasi yung karamihan sa DepEd, syempre ay modular, no? Sa mga private schools naman at sa ilang city na can afford ay meron tayong online learning.
ASEC in our sister network na 1PH, nakausap po ni Cheryl Cosim, ang presidente ng Quezon City Public School Teachers Association, na si Teacher Erlinda Alfonso. And she did mention yung mass promotion na yan, where they have to pass students para nga maka-advance daw sila sa next level. And another factor din daw doon, kasi nagrereklamo din daw po yung mga parents kung bakit daw binabagsak yung mga estudyante nila. And the teachers, para hindi na daw sila maipit because it is their bread and butter, hindi sila ma-suspend or ma-investigate pa, pinapasa na lang din daw yung mga estudyante. I mean, is that also part of the problem here?
Yeah, I think so. Pero dapat alam na it is our moral obligation, di ba? As a teacher, no? Alam natin kung yung bata ay talagang natawid niya yung mga competencies na dapat niyang natutunan. At sa pagtuturo, no, talagang expected natin hindi naman lahat ng bata pare-pareho, hindi sabay-sabay natututo. Kaya importante yung tinatawag na differentiated instruction sa loob ng classroom. Ito yung paggugrupo, in a layman's term, no? Sa paggugrupo kung paano ang approach sa mga different levels ng learning ng ating mga mag-aaral.
ASEC, I see, well, your attitude is optimistic na at least alam natin ang problema, but you're telling us that it will take a curriculum cycle, 5 to 10 years for the reforms to take effect. Parang medyo masyado pong matagal.
Meron tayong tinatawag, syempre, na yung ating immediate effect niya. Halimbawa, sa classroom, pagka yung kaninang binanggit ko, maayos ang pagtuturo sa differentiated instruction. Hindi kasi one size fits all ang pagtuturo sa loob ng classroom. At maraming factors tayo diyang tinitignan. Halimbawa, yung readiness ng ating learning environment, tapos yung quality din ng teaching ng teacher, siyempre yung estado din ng ating mga estudyante, yung kanilang kapasidad, mga individual. So, ang gusto kong sabihin ay it's good that we are looking at enhancing our curriculum. Importante na kahit na gaano kaganda ang curriculum, ang pinaka-importante dyan yung learning delivery o yung implementation na tinatawag. So, kailangan na-equip mabuti ang ating mga teachers.
Yun din, correct.
Yeah.
What are you doing in that regard?
We are doing a lot of equipping our teachers. No? Marami tayong scholarships na binibigay for our teacher. Meron tayong tatawag na LeeScoop. Before joining DepEd, I'm part of UP College of Education as the Dean. So, first hand ko nakita.
Diyan tinitrain po lahat ang mga teachers natin.
Yeah,
Pero sa dami po nila, kaya ba?
Oo. Doon naman sa mass training, meron tayo ngayong bagong programa with Secretary Angara, yung partnership with LinkedIn, if you're familiar with LinkedIn.
Yes.
Meron tayong 200,000 na slot for teachers, no, na anytime at their own pace and at their own volition, they can enroll for a professional development in LinkedIn.
Alam mo, Asek, nabanggit nga rin po ni Teacher Erlinda kanina that part of the problem is the attention span of the students. Sabi niya, hirap sila mag-focus, 20 minutes lang, nadidistract na daw sila, more so in a classroom of 60 to 65 students, right? And you only have one teacher.
Wala kasi ginawa kundi mag-TikTok at mag-YouTube at kung ano-anong social media dyan. Should we not follow the lead of Australia, ASEC? Because we are in a crisis.
Yeah, actually meron trend ngayon even in Sweden na ang ating mga bata ay inilalayo sa gadget, no. They are going back to the basic. They have to hold books, yung physical book,
Yes.
di ba? Pero in our generation, if I would say it safely, no, iba pa rin yung hawak mo yung libro at naaamoy mo siya at habang binubuklat mo, and then doon nagwa-widen yung imagination mo. So may mga pag-aaral ngayon, no, na nagsasabi na importante na we go back to the basic kasi minsan if we are too much involved with gadgets, it brings us back, no, to different focus and nawawala yung ating attention. At bukod doon, syempre katulad ng binabanggit ko, factor to, kasama din dyan yung generation, no. Pero mga pag-aaral ng Gen Z, ngayon yung mga estudyante natin, ang tawag dyan Gen Alpha, no. So meron silang mga sariling characteristics na hindi natin nahanap sa mga henerasyon na nagdaan.
So tama po yung sinabi ni Pawi na talagang very short ang attention span.
Yeah, alam mo yung
also
mga
seen that.
video ngayon kasi pagka inaral mo, very quick yung transition, no? So we have to compete with that fast pace of things. At kaya importante to put balance so that learning could really happen.
Paano kaya yung balance na yun, Asek? Is it having lectures cut short to 10 minutes, tapos another 10 minutes for an interactive activity? Ganun na ba ngayon to be more effective sa pagtuturo sa mga Gen Alpha?
Actually, may tinatawag na constructivist view sa pagtuturo, Pauline. Ibig sabihin nun, importante, yung panahon kasi dati, we just feed. The teacher is the source of all knowledge. Sa pagtuturo ngayon, hindi na kasi ganun, no? Teachers should be more of the facilitators. So, ibig sabihin, let them think of how they understand things at yung teacher ang nagfa-facilitate at ng mga activities niya. Kaya nga hindi na pwede talaga yung lecture type sa mga estudyante natin. Kailangan ay they learn by doing, they learn by understanding things, no? At importante yung mga social activities, no, sa kanilang ginagawa.
So in closing, DepEd, I'm glad you have a very good attitude about these alarming statistics. Give us a big picture. How long will it take to overhaul the very sorry state of our education system and to be able to produce, graduates that can compete? It's a tough world out there.
Yeah. Secretary Sunny is always saying when he took the position as DepEd Secretary, alam niya na he's facing a challenge in terms of education. Kaya nga tinitignan nating mabuti na yung mga magagandang nagagawa na, kasi yun yung importante, yung continuity. Yung mga magandang ginagawa na ay may pagpatuloy natin. And very data-driven ngayon ang DepEd. Tinitignan talaga yung mga datos so that it will be a targeted intervention. And to answer your question, it will take siyempre taon, pero importante yung nagsisimula tayo ngayon, no? At naniniwala naman ako din na for to raise a generation, it has to start now. At kailangan lamang ay hindi tayo nakafocus sa pag-solve sa problem sa iisang focus, kundi tignan natin yung multi-dimension and multi-factor of things, no, ng pag-solve ng solution. At
Sige.
lahat,
sorry, pahabol. So kahit yung matatag curriculum ay ginawa noong panahon ni VP Sara, okay naman sa inyo yon. You will just continue it because usually, sabi nyo nga, palit ng palit.
Yeah, tinutuloy ito, Ses, kasi galing ito sa pag-aaral.
Okay. Hindi ba kayo rin yon? Kayo rin ba?
Hindi po.
Hindi.
Para pakilala natin yung mga taong tumulong doon sa UP ACT-RC, no? Doon sa pag-aaral.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Buen viaje. Now on to another story. Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon says the overhaul of Edsa is definitely pushing through after the May 12 elections. On our sister program, StoryCon, Dizon shared how the Edsa rehab will be done first on the inner lanes, which are currently being used as a busway. In effect, buses will be moved to the next lane. And to alleviate traffic, Dizon says they are now in talks to give incentives to motorists who will use the elevated highways. That includes the Skyway Stage 3 and Harbor Link. All other plans for EDSA's makeover will be announced a week before the elections.
So nag-announce na po ang DPWH na sisimulan po ito pagkatapos ng eleksyon. Ito po ay gagawin lane by lane. Magsisimula po sa inner lanes, no, both north and southbound. At ito po ay gagawin buuan na yan, no? Mula Monumento hanggang Pasay, no? Tuloy-tuloy po yan.
Dizon is also optimistic about key rail projects being completed in the last 3 years of the Marcos administration. These are the MRT 7, the Common Station, and the North-South Commuter Rail, or at least the structures from Valenzuela to Clark, Pampanga. To speed up construction, he looks to Congress for laws that will facilitate land acquisition.
Ay meron po kaming minumungkahi sa Kongreso yung amendments to our right-of-way law. Isi-streamline nito yung mga proseso at bibigyan ng mas malawak na flexibility at authority, hindi lang ang hindi lang ang national government, kundi pati ang local governments para mas mapabilis natin ang right-of-way acquisition.
And speaking of the DOTR, it has ordered the suspension of Solid North bus, which caused a tragic pileup at a northbound toll plaza of the Subic-Clark Expressway earlier today. The massive road crash happened around noon, involving a container truck, a bus, and 3 cars. There were multiple fatalities, most of them pinned in the wreckage. The Tarlac PD-RRMO has updated the number of those killed to 12, 6 of whom were children. 28 people suffered injuries and have been brought to the Tarlac Provincial Hospital. Authorities say the bus triggered the pileup when it rammed the vehicles waiting in line at the toll plaza. Investigation on the accident continues, and the driver of the bus is now in police custody.
Meantime, workers' groups held protests across the country this Labor Day, calling for across-the-board daily minimum wage of 1,200 pesos. In Manila, protesters gathered at Liwasang Bonifacio and marched to Recto Avenue, holding banners demanding living wages. Tension rose when some demonstrators tried to tear down a barricade, but police were quick to stop them. They were blocked from reaching the Mendiola Peace Arch, which was secured by over 3,000 police and fire personnel.
Nagkaroon ng konting tensyon. So far, na-control naman natin yun. Na-maintain pa rin natin yung ating hanay. Yung kapulisan natin, maintain pa rin nila yung maximum tolerance. Wala naman, hindi naman nagkasakitan.
Meanwhile, protesters say 1,200 pesos is the minimum amount needed for workers to afford basic needs, as the current 600 peso daily wage is no longer enough. They also called for an end to contractualization and pushed for better pay for entry-level workers.
Alam naman natin na sobrang taas ng presyo ng bilihin sa kasalukuyan, kaya't nangangailangan na ng dagdag sahod. Kaya't yung aming panawagan na dagdag sahod ipaglaban, 1,200 pesos nationwide, iyan yung sa tingin namin ay nakabubuhay.
It is worth noting, though, that Congress is pushing for a wage hike between 100 and 200 pesos. Senators are urging President Marcos to certify the wage hike bill as urgent. The Senate has already passed a 100 peso wage increase, but it still needs approval from the House and Malacanang. Senator Risa Ontiveros warned that delays could worsen poverty, while Senator Bongo called on the House to act before the 19th Congress ends in June. If it is not passed by then, the bill will have to be refiled in the next Congress. And in his Labor Day message, President Bongbong Marcos vowed to protect the welfare of workers, but made no mention of the proposed legislated wage hike. He only said that 16 regions have approved wage increases for this year. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up, one eatery is serving up Filipino favorites with modern sustainability on the side. We introduce to you Gubat QC when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back to the big story, and this time we shift our focus from hard news to something even closer to our everyday lives, food. Can the way we eat help build a greener future? Here we highlight sustainable initiatives, one story at a time. Welcome to Sustainability. Today, we introduce you to a hidden gem nestled in Diliman, where traditional Filipino practices meet modern sustainability. And joining us tonight is Sereb Gregorio, co-founder of Gubat QC, a hole-in-the-wall eatery serving hearty Filipino food with a commitment to sustainability. Welcome to the big story, Sereb.
Thank you, Ms. Ces. Thanks for having me.
Magkapangalan pala tayo, short for Cecilia pala yung Sereb.
Yes po.
Oo. Kaya pala.
It's Cecilia Rebecca.
I have to
Is it
tell
in the
you.
name of being an advocate for sustainability, no?
Hope so.
And no, I don't know why. Basta, I love, the moment I first set foot in Gubat, I fell in love with it, and
Thank you.
I keep going back. But the reason we have you, and thank you for coming on holiday.
thank you for the invite.
is because of your zero waste advocacy and of course sustainability practices. Was it the overriding belief principle that made you do this?
Well, we wanted to serve good food initially, so I guess that's the overriding principle. And then the sustainability came afterwards when we noticed that, like, you know, whenever you eat out, there's just so much plastic around. And then also our sister restaurant in Baler is beside the sea, and they also try to like minimize the use of single-use plastics and their reliance on it. So we felt like we should adopt it here.
So that was really the reason.
Yeah. Just mostly seeing all the single-use plastics.
Well, sir, I haven't eaten, unfortunately, but I do plan to go this week na,
Yes,
bukas na, no?
please.
No, but for those unfamiliar with your restaurant, with this hole-in-the-wall concept in Diliman, what can goers expect? What do you really offer?
We offer, I mean, first and foremost, we really try to offer like good Filipino food, comfort food. We're also a Kamayan-only restaurant. So I guess the experience, and also we try to be, we severely lack green spaces in Metro Manila. So we felt like we should make our space more green.
Parang you're eating in a garden, outdoor,
Yes.
outdoor.
Alfresco.
Tapos, gagamitin mo yung kamay mo sa pagkain dahil dahon ng saging.
Even for the pasta?
Well, for the pasta, we give forks.
Okay.
But that's about it. And the leche flan, we serve them with teaspoons. But other than that, it's really just kamay.
Mapapakain ka nga ng madami if you use your hands.
And we made sure that yung menu is something that you'll enjoy eating with your hands.
Yeah. And the idea of having a salad with your order, how did that come about? Yung parang buong meal, balansyado yung meal.
Yes.
Oo.
We just, well, pako is something I think a lot of people in Baler eat. So when we first came across it, we felt like
Napaka-unique
Yes,
nito.
yes po. And then
Kakaiba.
something, yeah, and masarap. It doesn't taste like, parang it doesn't taste like anything else.
Yeah.
So we thought of adding it too.
Minsan nga, out of stock yung pako, nagagalit ako.
Hirap po mag-source, especially now when
You
it's
should
hot.
start planting it.
Yeah, we're thinking about that too,
You
but down the
should.
line. It's not that easy to grow actually.
Kasi alam mo, Pawi, merong pako, merong kalahating itlog na maalat at kalahating kamatis.
Sarap.
Tapos kanin, and yung ulam mo, adobo.
Yes, Pinoy na Pinoy.
Oo, adobo, ano ba
Lechon
to?
kawali.
Lechon kawali.
Piniritong
Yes.
isda.
Tapos halabos na hipon.
Actually,
And then we
tinignan
have
ko na yung
burro.
menu nyo, no? And apart from the food, what I really love is the price point. It's quite affordable.
Yes, yes. We also try to make it, of course, accessible to as many people as possible without compromising quality.
Have you been able to influence your customers in, rethinking about single-use plastics, yung mga wasteful practices? Kasi actually, sustainability is consciousness eh.
Yes,
Diba?
yes.
So,
Actually, that's
have
the
you-
most we hope to achieve, really, is to raise awareness. And I feel like some people naman, give it more thought whenever they start using single-use plastics. They give it more thought. But of course, honestly, whenever I hang out there, I still see some people, kasi we're kamayan, but you can bring your own utensils. And then some people really
Will
bring
bring
plastic
plastic.
within. But
Akala ko ba bawal dalhin? Hindi.
you can.
You
But
can.
We don't give lang. We don't give utensils.
No,
but
plastic.
Plastic, parang there's no way kasi to control.
stop them, no?
And then if we, I don't know, yun. Just maybe, I guess yung awareness lang at best is what we can hope for.
Yeah. So may mga taong ayaw magkamay.
Yes, or surprisingly, or parang they feel like,
Alam mo, recently, I watched Richard Quest come here to the Philippines and budol fight ang finiture niya.
ay
See?
wow.
Oo. He partook of a budol fight and ate with his hands. Of course, he didn't know how. Kailangan siyang turuan. I actually brought some friends to Gubat and I had to teach them also.
I remember.
How
The
to
ladies.
eat. Yeah. Ang dami kong dinadala because
Thank
for
you.
me, it's very Filipino and yun na
Yeah.
nga, walang waste masyado. So, ang laki na rin ng tinipid mo, no?
Yes
na
po.
kumakain ka sa dahon ng saging, which is how our ancestors used to
Yes.
eat rin naman.
And it's our tradition. And I feel like, I guess siguro some people feel like it's not cool. It's not cool, maybe. Pero parang, wala, it's our tradition. And sometimes it's the best way to eat certain Filipino food.
And then lately, you've added some decor pero mga employees mo yung gumagawa o paano?
Yes po.
You'd
And then-
like to recycle or
Upcycle,
upcycle.
yeah.
Upcycle.
Furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also, well, you've been so many times, so you know na a lot of our stuff is upcycled or recycled, and we try to stick to
Yeah.
that. Even now, we try to make the most use out of found objects or whatever. Just
Marami
objects that
kang
we find.
tarpaulin na magagamit ngayong eleksyon. Actually, when you look at Gubat, may certain character, charm siya. Kahit mga medyo mga alam mong itatapon na dapat tong kahoy na to or ito yung tarpaulin na pang sa bubong. But may character siya eh. How did you come about?
Well, it started with
this
our really
look?
small budget. So we tried to maximize the budget that we had initially. And then, although kami rin naman, me and the people I work with, we're all into yung mga vintage, second-hand, ganyan, Japan surplus. So, kasi
Sustainable nga.
yeah, and it saves money then, ganyan. So, when we started the business, we didn't have a big budget. So we tried to make it look the best we could with the budget that we had.
Parang shabby chic ba? Hindi eh. Hindi.
Mas shabby pa naman. A little bit shabbier, but it works, I feel. Or we try to improve then as we go along.
But as I said, no, it's really part of the charm. I mean, just looking at the photos,
Yeah.
it's really inviting, and you'll be curious, no, to see what's inside. But I'm sure you have a lot of loyal customers already. But I'm also curious about those interested. What's their first reaction when they eat at Gubat QC? What are some of the initial responses that you get?
Well, it's funny because when people come in, like I think they're just amazed to see like a pocket of green space in the city for starters. And then parang eventually they notice the little knickknacks around and they start taking pictures. So far the response has been positive naman. And then we just try to like add what we can. So there's something new to see.
Do you compute how much you save from not having to wash dishes, from not having to... Mga ilang percent ng savings kaya yun?
Actually, we haven't gotten that far. Pero I feel like labor-wise, syempre for the people who wash everything, syempre that's part of, wala.
Ilan
ang
bang
laking-
staff dun sa sa Gubat Diliman? UP Diliman.
Right now, in UP, a shift would be siguro mga like 8 to 10 people.
Sa lahat
Yeah.
na rin, ha?
Yeah.
So,
'Cause-
tinatapon lang yung dahon ng saging or may ginagawa pa doon na iba?
Ay, tinatapon lang po
Farmers,
siya.
tinatapon
Yeah.
na. Pwede ka rin kasing ano yun gawing fertilizer, ha?
Oh, like some,
Okay.
siguro, kasi we have rejects. So the rejects we turn into like fertilizer. But the ones that are used by the guests, wala, we have to throw those away.
I think urban farms would like to have that.
Oh, okay.
Diba?
Yes.
Oo, it can be turned into fertilizer.
Oh, nice. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I think you
We
will
didn't think
have to
about
think
that.
of the next step.
Yes.
Diba?
So far, our next step pa lang is all converting to solar powered.
Oh, okay.
Trying to convert everything we can to solar powered.
When is this? Well, after all, you're in an open space, right?
Yes.
Oo.
But the freezers, syempre the freezers and the refs, ganyan. But hopefully in the next quarter.
And you want to expand also to a third branch?
Yes, ma'am. Hopefully.
What
We're
are you
praying for
eyeing?
that.
Yeah,
Oo nga.
where's the next location?
We don't have a space yet,
Okay.
actually. But we're looking.
It has to be open.
Yes.
No aircon.
Yes.
Oo. Kasi dun rin, tipid kayo din dun, di ba?
Yes po. And something na pwedeng gubatin. Like, something we can plant trees in.
How did you find this particular location dun sa UP Bonsai Society?
Ay, yes.
Oo. How did you find that location?
It was actually the community that gave us access to that little parcel of land. Kasi my mom was a big bonsai enthusiast, so she had her plants, and then she'd go there, and then, like just hang out with the community, and then
So
eventually
now you
they
can
gave
even
her
buy
space.
bonsai if you wish.
Right now,
you
most
eat
of our
there.
bonsai is really our collection, and but the area around is full of bonsai artists. It's the one in the UP branch.
Yeah, dapat siguro meron, you can ask them to sell there.
So much
Yeah.
potential, right?
Actually.
Diba? This whole
Yes.
concept of gubat. And for me, I hope it's not just, a trend that, people nowadays just follow trends. Iba na, uy, let's try something na kamay, you'll use your hands to eat. Because it's really something in our Filipino culture. So, there's a whole potential in that. But what about supporting farmers? With your banana leaves, sino ba yung mga sinusuportahan na farmers ng Gubat QC when it comes to your sustainability efforts also?
Actually, right now, a lot of our supplies we source from the local markets.
Okay.
So we don't really have access to farmers directly just
Okay.
yet. But we hope to do that in the future too. Like, if
Do
there's
you
someone
have
who
a
can connect
problem
us
with the supply of banana leaves? No naman.
So far, no po. But what we have a problem with it is the supply of pako. Especially like with the weather. Parang with weather changes, it gets harder to
And
get.
summer, I
Yeah.
suppose it's challenging,
Yes.
no? Oo.
Also, pag rainy season po, ayun, it's
Yeah.
harder to source
Naging
pako.
pipino na lang.
Buti may pipino.
Oo, pero you should, I guess that's the next step also, exploring partnerships with farmers.
Yes, definitely. Actually, we're super open to that. We just haven't found a connection to them yet, or to farmers who have what we need specifically.
And I'd like to ask you, in your everyday life, how do you practice sustainability?
At home, we really try to limit our use of single-use plastics and the
Like how?
reliance
Para
on it.
naman kami, we can also learn from you.
Just mostly containers. Use reusable containers. even when we shop, and we use reusable containers. We bring our own containers, eco bags, everything.
Sabi nga yung mga, ewan ko naman, ba't may tira pa sila sa pagkain nila sa gubat? Bawal ilagay sa mga styro or ano, they have to bring their own container, right?
They can, yes. It's an option.
Or use the banana leaf, right? Is that also pang take-out?
Yes. Pero actually, what we do is, you can bring your own.
Maikli kasi. Di ba?
Yeah. You can bring your own. Because when you bring your own, we don't charge you anymore for the take-out box. So parang incentive din siya na basta may dala ka.
So sa bahay talagang bawal ang single-use plastic.
We try talaga, but it's hard. Honestly, parang, well, one of our common friends said, yun nga, zero waste is actually a misnomer. And then I realized, oh nga, it's so hard because we don't really have a lot of alternatives to like spill-proof plastic. Pero yun, at most, while we look for alternatives, we just try to stay away from most of it na lang.
Well, thanks to Gubat for setting the example, and thank you, Sarah, for your insights on leading a sustainable life and, I guess, attempting at a zero-waste life kahit medyo
yes,
imposible.
Yes, the bare minimum kasi right now talaga it's so hard.
Right. At least try.
Yes, at least.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Miss, for having me.
And that was Sarah Gregorio, co-founder of Gubat, Quezon City.
Right, in the meantime, the MVP Group has officially thrown its full support behind the country's historic hosting of the 2025 FIVB Volleyball Men's World Championship. Chairman Manuel V. Pangilinan and PNVF President Ramon Tatsuzara sealed the landmark partnership on Monday. This marks another world-class collaboration after co-hosting the FIBA Basketball World Cup in 2023. The 2025 FIVB Volleyball Men's World Championship is set for September 12 to 28. This is the first time the global event will be staged on Philippine soil, and PLDT will be providing broadband connectivity as the official internet partner, while Signal TV will handle broadcast duties to bring the action closer to fans nationwide. We're going to pause for another breather, but right after that, the U.S. economy shrinks during the first 3 months of the year. President Donald Trump believes he knows the reason for the decline. We have that story and more when we return. Keep it here on One News.
And we're back. With a damper to American President Donald Trump's first 100 days in office, Trump held a cabinet meeting as new economic data revealed a contraction in the U.S. economy. The sit-down came after reports showing the U.S. economy shrank by 0.3% in the first quarter. This is largely due to a surge in imports as companies rushed to avoid massive tariffs on automotive and steel. Trump blamed his predecessor for the poor GDP numbers, arguing that the economic policies of the previous administration had harmed the country.
That's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is the quarterly numbers, and we came in and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our country in so many ways.
Vice President Sara Duterte says she is showing up at the preliminary probe on an NBI complaint filed against her. Duterte is facing inciting to sedition and grave threat charges for her kill threat against President Bongbong Marcos, his wife Lisa, and his cousin, House Speaker Martin Romualdez. She confirmed receiving summons from the Office of the Prosecutor earlier this week. Last November, Duterte disclosed in an online press conference that she had contracted an assassin to kill the three if she is murdered. She even stressed in the press con that she wasn't joking.
Nagkausap na kami ng aking abogado with regard to sa counter affidavit na tinatapos na lock namin. At mag-appear ako dahil kailangan ko mag-oath.
Shawn may not be around, but we still have our big picture tonight. The final stage of the Metro Pacific Tollways Corporation Tour of Luzon 2025 saw intense competition as cyclists pushed their limits on a challenging route. Joshua Pascual of Excellent Noodles won Stage 8 with a solo ride to Baguio, clocking in at 4 hours, 16 minutes, and 14 seconds to earn the title Eagle of the Mountain. Excellent Noodles cycling team also soared to the top, claiming first place in the team classification. But leading the overall race is Korean cyclist Dae Young-ju, who went head-to-head with the finest cyclists from the Philippines and around the world in this toughest of stages.
Wow, I wonder why we don't have video.
Yeah, oo. But there's a live stream on their page that you can check if you're interested.
Okay.
But it's so nice that Tour of Luzon is back.
I know. You know, I remember I was telling you as a little girl, I would be at the finish line.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was the finish line?
Baguio.
Baguio,
Yeah.
Baguio na talaga.
Because I grew up, I was
Yes.
born there, so yeah.
And this year they're having it at Camp John Hay, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So good luck to all the riders in the final stage. But for this Thursday evening and this Labor Day holiday, that's it for the Big Story tonight. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thank you for watching. Have a good night.